What is up? Welcome into Tyler on OU softball. We're just gonna chat live tonight and talk some Sooner softball. All OU softball all the time. That's what we do, and we're gonna do it here tonight. I hope audio's all good. You guys were asking for more live videos, live streams, and so we're gonna start doing those on a more regular basis because I love chatting with you guys in the comments, but it's fun to kind of talk to you in real time. So if you got a question, comment, concern, please drop it into the live chat, and we'll definitely chat on this Thursday night about some OU softball. Please like the video and go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the channel if you haven't already. Doesn't sign you up for anything, doesn't give you any annoying alerts or anything like that. It just helps me give you the best coverage when it comes to OU softball. All right, so we'll kind of take this conversation wherever it goes in the chat, but I really have about three main topics that we're going to cover tonight. Let's dive into who's going to lead this team in home runs because it's a fun and fascinating conversation. And frankly, I'm still giving my guesses as to who's going to lead this team in home runs. It's a good problem to have. I've got my top 5 non-conference games because the non-conference schedule, really the full schedule, dropped last Friday night. I was in Tuscaloosa, not able to put up a video. So I've got my top 5 non-con games. And then I've even got a post-fall SEC softball poll as well, which is going to be really fun. Want your thoughts throughout. So again, drop those and we'll get to those comments. Let's start with who's going to lead this team in home runs. There were a lot of names that I factored in. I thought of Ella Parker. I thought of Cassidy Pickering. I thought of Gabby Garcia, who had 20 home runs and led the team last year. I thought of Nelly McEnroe Morenas. I thought of Kendall Wells. I thought of Sydney Barker had a good year last year hitting home runs. There were 6 or 7 players that I really thought, could this player lead the team in home runs? But ultimately, I created a top 5, and here's the top 5 in order that I think will lead this team in home runs. Now, let me explain myself a little bit with this top 5 because your top 5 probably looks different than mine. Your top 3 probably looks different than mine. Your number 1 might look different than mine. But I went with Ella Parker at my number 1. Now, whoever hits the most home runs on this team, I think there's so much power and so much ability that it almost comes down to a numbers game. Whoever's going to lead this team in home runs is probably going to be one of the players that gets, the most at bats on this team, or probably top 3 at bats. And I think that Ella Parker, there's a few reasons why I think Ella Parker is going to lead this team in home runs and why I have her at number 1. One, I think she's amazing. I think she's really good and quite possibly the best hitter in the sport this year. 2, I think that she's going to be healthy this time around, and a healthy Ella Parker is bad news for everyone else. But 3, and kind of what I'm hinting at here, is she's going to hit at the top of the order. I don't think that she's necessarily going to hit leadoff, but she might hit second in the order. She might hit third in the order. The point is that Ella Parker might be your best hitter, and she's going to get a ton of at-bats because of where she's hitting in the lineup. I mean, last year, she was 5 off the lead. Gabby had 20 with the lead, and Ella had 15. And Ella was hurt for virtually all of SEC play last year, and she was still only 5 back of the leader. Maybe it's the easy answer. Maybe it's the lame answer. I don't know. It may be the right answer. I think Ella Parker is going to lead this team in home runs this year, and I will not be shocked at all if she hits north of 20. The way that Ella Parker is not here at the top of this list is if she just gets intentionally walked a ton. If Ella Parker is just so good and by far and away this team's best hitter that teams just walk her and they don't pitch to her anymore. I think that would be the path to where Ella Parker's not in serious conversation with this at some point towards the end of the year. Cassidy Pickering, just love her swing from the left-handed side of the plate. Think she's going to hit a lot of home runs to right. Think she's going to hit a lot of home runs to center. Think she's going to hit a lot of home runs to left. There's a chance that Parker and Pickering could tie this year for the most home runs on the team. But I think Parker's 1. I think Pick is right below Ella Parker. I think that's the best duo offensively you're going to find in the sport this year, and I expect major contribution from both of those hitters. 3, I got Captain Nelly. How good was she in the fall? She was awesome. And I just think after a year under her belt, where she was the full-time third baseman, the captain on this team, a year through the SEC, a year throughout the starter. We're going to see the best version up to this point of Nelly, and she showed all that power in the fall, and I cannot wait to see it. I can't wait to see it when the season starts. I think Nelly's going to be in the top 3. Gabby Garcia, and this speaks to just the amount of power depth of power, whatever the right way to say that is that Gabby led the team last year with 20 home runs as a true freshman, and I have her 4th on this list. Now, Gabby, she's got enough game, she's got enough power where she might lead this team again in home runs. She might hit north of 20 home runs this year. That could happen. But I just think in healthy Ella Parker and some of those hitters in front of her that I have, just because I have Gabby Garcia 4th does not mean I think that she's going to have a sophomore slump or a step back season. She could have an even better year than what she did last year, but the other players on this roster offensively are so good, she could just fall 4th on this list when it comes to home runs. But like Ella, like Pick, like Captain Nelly, Gabby Garcia is an everyday starter, and where she's going to hit in the order, which is probably around the middle somewhere, Gabby Garcia will have enough at-bats, I think, to seriously push once again to lead this team in home runs. And then Kendall Wells, number 5. You know, I don't think that she's necessarily going to start as many games as the other players in front of her because I think that Isabella Emmerling is going to get starts early on in the season in the non-conference portion of the schedule, and we'll see what happens as the year goes on. But I think Ella's going to start like every game. Same with Pick, same with Nelly, same with Gabby Garcia. And though I do think that Kendall Wells is eventually your everyday catcher, she's probably not going to be hitting as high in the order as some of those other ones. Basically, I just don't think she's going to get as many at-bats as the other 4 players in front of her, but we know what type of power she has. We know what type of power she has, and if she gets opportunities, which she will, I think Kendall Wells is going to hit a lot of home runs as a true freshman. A lot. And maybe I'm still undervaluing her after what we saw in the fall. Heck, a true freshman last year led the team in home runs. It could happen again this year. But that is a stout 5 right there. Like that 5, I'd bet that 5 probably all hit double-digit home runs. I'd probably bet that right now. I bet all 5 of those that I have, or whatever combination of 5 ends up for OU, I would bet they have 5 players, at least 5 players with double-digit home runs. Maybe they have 2 players with 20-plus home runs. I don't know. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for sure. I think my mic just came undone, so hopefully we're back here. So that's what I got in my top 5. I'm gonna scroll down the comments here before we get to my top 5 non-conference games. Robert says Pick and Parker. Hope they're not like the most Hanson Coleman hittings. Then at seasons went by Sanders and never doing. I'm not worried about Pick and Parker whatsoever. Like if you want to issue, things about just this team that you're nervous or just those are the 2 of the things that I'm like most confident in with this team is that Parker and Pickering are going to be consistent and they're going to be consistently elite. Alla was walked so much. Record should be 150 easy. Yeah, I think those 2 players are probably going to get walked a lot as well. Don't know who will hit the most, but I think first 1 to 20 is number 2, then number 5. So you think Nelly is the first one to 20 home runs this year? Someone's hitting 20 home runs. Gabby hit 20 home runs last year. I think that okay, I'll even like double down on what I said. I think that at least 5 hit double-digit home runs. I'll say it. Let's do it. A little bold prediction here in the month of November. I think at least 2 players hit 20 home runs this year. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. Brian says Nelly is my guess. She has really transformed her swing. She just hits bombs. I mean, and all these players hit bombs, but some home runs just sound different or look different. Clearly, that was the case with Kendall Wells during the fall, but Captain Nelly wasn't that far behind. I mean, Nelly hit some balls in the fall that were just like, gee, she is a superstar. Like, she is an all-American candidate, I think, this year, and I think she's your next great third baseman at the University of Oklahoma. I hope that we don't take this for granted. I try to do as much as I can to remind everyone how much talent this team has, but you still really have to take a step back from time to time and realize how much crazy talent and crazy depth that this offense is going to have this year. I mean, it's just, there's a better offense in college softball this year. Please show me. I don't think one is out there. What up, Teresa? I think Wells or Nelly, Gabby could be close behind. So, and again, this speaks to it. Like you guys, your top two are not necessarily my two. Kendall Wells, sure, I think she could if she gets enough at bats. Nelly, yeah, I think she'll get enough at bats to be in the conversation. And what she looked like in the fall was spectacular. What she looked like last year was spectacular. Not just the fall or redshirt freshman season for sure. Sooners need to race to 30 home runs again, set the record when Allo and Jennings both hitting 30 and 28. But this time we could have up to 5 more. 30 home runs, Roberts? I mean, I'm in. I'm in. I'm down. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's no chance somebody could push 30 home runs this year. Wells was impressive. Yes, Jeff, to say the least. Wells was very impressive. In fact, Wells was my she was my fall offensive. She was my offensive player of the fall, offensive MVP of the fall, and just overall fall MVP. She was that good, and she's got a really fun personality as well. I want to tell you guys more about that here in a few minutes. Brian says it's really between the 6: Ella Parker, Pick, Nelly, Gabby, Barker, and Wells. Yeah, that's the 6 that I came up with. That's the 6 that I thought about initially. Now, is there somebody else that could enter into that conversation? Is there anybody else outside that 6 that you could see really pushing for the lead in home runs? Could an Isabella Emmerling do it? I don't think she's going to get enough at-bats to do it. Could Alessi McDaniel do it? I don't see her as an everyday starter right now, though she's going to get opportunities. So I think it's probably that 6 that we're talking about. I think that's going to be that 6. Dawn, yeah, she may not, but she may take over at some point in the non-conference and just take that spot and run with it. But I would tend to agree with that right now. I think her sophomore year, though, well, I guess Pickering will be back, and Nelly will be back, and Gabby Garcia. Jeez, this is going to be a fun conversation for a long time, man, for a long time. Brian, you're like a day oneer on this channel, so you know that I always appreciate you. Dawn says Garcia or Pickering. Yeah. Where's the Ella Parker love at, guys? Come on, fully healthy, ready to go. We know what she can do power-wise. There we go. There's a Wells or a Parker. James says Wells, Nelly, Pick, Garcia, Barker, EP are my top picks. Let's see. Gabby, Wells, Pickering, Ella. In that order? If Gabby does it back-to-back years, I mean, she might be like player of the year in college softball because guess what? Those defensive numbers of hers are going to be insane. Top 6 in the lineup will be explosive. I agree with that. I'm afraid Ella Parker will get walked a lot similar to Allo. She may. But I still think that people will pitch to her enough where she's going to do some real damage. And here's the thing about Ella Parker, too. And I don't disagree with that, Jeff. I think that in terms of walks, I would guess Ella Parker probably leads in that category because teams are going to pitch away from her. But here's probably what helps out Ella Parker in that regard. Okay, you want to walk Ella Parker? You want to put her on first base? Well, if Pickering hits in front of her again, Pickering may already be standing on second base when you do that. So if you want to put Ella Parker on base, fine. Nelly's probably going to be hitting right behind her, or it might be Gabby Garcia behind her, or it might be Kendall Wells behind her. You know what I mean? Like the other hitters around her make it more difficult to have the decision just to walk Ella Parker every single time she's at the plate. Because you can walk Ella Parker all you want. You're just putting somebody on base for Nelly or Gabby or Kendall Wells or Sydney Barker or whoever else to hit them in. So it's a pretty dangerous thing, if you ask me. EP will, as long as she has protection behind her. Yeah, I think she'll have plenty of that. I mean, I don't doubt that whatsoever. That's the strength of this team for me. If it's not defensively, I think it's just overall what they are at the plate. I just feel like they're so good and so deep. Ella 2020. Ooh, I like that. That could definitely happen. Jeffrey says Gabby pick Nelly, then Parker. Wells won't lead the team. She won't get as many at-bats as the main starter since she'll be splitting time with Emmerling. Agree with that. How many ladies hit 20 or more? I'm going 2. I'll say Parker and Pickering hit 20 home runs this year. But Nelly's going to make me look like a moron and probably hit like 24 home runs this year. And I hope she does. Uncle Bill chimes in. Is the pitching better this year that would make hitters better with competition in practice? That's a good question. I think the pitching is deeper. I'd like you guys comment on this because I thought it at some point we would probably talk about the pitching tonight. And I'm going to do a video in the next couple of weeks that probably goes a little bit more in depth about the pitching. Um, but I would say right now, OU is definitely deeper in the circle than what they were last year. I think they have more arms that can, start on a game in, game out basis. They just have more arms that you would trust right now. But as of right now, they don't have a pitcher to the level of Sam Landry. What do you guys think about that? We're searching for this team's ace. As good as Sam Landry was last year, and she was awesome, they don't have someone to the level of Sam Landry, but the overall depth is better than what they have last year. I think that that's a pretty fair thing to say. So is the pitching better this year that would make hitters better with competition? I would say yes, just because there's more arms, kind of more arms to go around in practice in certain situations and fall games that'll help this lineup better. So I guess a long way to answer your question, Uncle Bill. That is my Uncle Bill, by the way. I'm not just calling him that. Yeah, I think the pitching is better this year. And it needs to be. I think it's fair to say that it needs to be. And I think that they, went out with the thought that we are going to be deeper in the circle this year. And we're going to go get a couple of arms like Sydney Berzon and Miley Wachenio. And we're also bringing in some really talented freshmen. And oh, by the way, Audrey Lowry is going to have a massive year in her sophomore season. You guys know I believe that. So, yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I think, yeah, definitely the pitching is better. It needs to be better. I think they're healthier this time around, and I think they will be. But will they have someone to the level of Sam Landry? I think that's the question with the group of pitchers right now. And I think that they can. I think that they can certainly have that this year. I just don't think that pitcher has emerged just yet. And not a shocker because Sam Landry is awesome. She's playing big time softball. Nelly may break out this year. I mean, can Nelly be a breakout player? I guess if she's an All-American, she can, but I think Nelly kind of the breakout player last year with how good she is, but fair point. Barker's had a lot of home runs and wasn't a regular in the lineup. Yeah, was it like eight home runs and like 70 or 80 at-bats or something like she had a really good like home run per at-bat ratio last year. And that's why she found herself in the lineup, especially in the Women's College World Series. She's hitting like the middle of the order because you could not leave her bat out of the lineup. That's how good Sydney Barker was last year. We need 6 players to race to 20, a few freshmen with 15 or 20. I'll be down with that. Joe Sooner, who I saw in Tuscaloosa and Knoxville, says Kendall Wells. I like that. Maybe she could. What a fun story that would be. Wells for home runs. You guys love you some Kendall Wells, and I can't fault you one bit for that. Barker's likely going to be in the double digits. Yeah, I think that could be the case as well. Teresa, my lineup is Pitt, Gabby, Ella, Nelly, Wells, too good of a hitter to be on the bench. Barker, Abby, Ilana, and Kia. I think you mean Tia Malloy there? Or you mean Kai. You mean Kai. Kai Minor, I bet. OU has too many home run hitters for teams to walk anyone. Yeah, I agree. A lot of comments in here, and I'm going to get back to those. Keep them coming. Appreciate you guys. But I want to get to a few topics here. That's kind of the race for home runs. So the schedule was released on, Friday of last week. And if you haven't heard, February 5th will be the first game in Tempe, Arizona against Arizona State. That'll be at 6:15 on a Thursday night. Then they'll play Arizona. So the first 2 games this year, they'll play ASU in Tempe, and they'll play Arizona in Tucson. Now, I don't think this is going to be a banner Arizona softball team. I think that they'll be good. I definitely think they'll be ready to play Oklahoma in the second game of the year. But this isn't, one of the best Arizona teams, seemingly, or at least on paper, that we've seen. And we'll see what Arizona State gives you. But a fun non-conference schedule. They've even got random games like going to Memphis, I think, on a Wednesday night as they head to Oxford to play Ole Miss. Here's my top 5 non-conference games for OU and see if you guys agree. At number 1, I did the Bedlam game against Oklahoma State because, of the setting of that. You only play them once in the regular season. You want to beat them. You don't want to live in a state where you only play them once in softball and they beat you, which I feel pretty good about OU in that game, as I do every single year. But it's a fun rivalry game, and it's a fun setting, and the atmosphere last year was awesome OU fell behind early, and then they just poured it on offensively. If I remember correct, Maya Bland had like a big night that night in OKC. Duke is the second best non-conference game, in my opinion. That game's at Mary Nutter. I think that's the most high-profile game that you're probably going to play at Mary Nutter. Saw Duke a couple of years ago in the Women's College World Series. You got a small amount of history with the Blue Devils, but I think OU Duke will be fun February 20th at the Mary Nutter. Arizona, that second game of the year in Tucson. I'm kind of nostalgic, not kind of. I am very nostalgic when it comes to sports. Like, I love uniform matchups. Like, I love the traditional powers. I like to see the traditional powers and the traditional uniforms and the blue bloods. Like, I love all of that. And Oklahoma and Arizona, they are blue bloods in college softball. So I get a little geeked out when I see those two uniforms up against each other, especially early on in the year, and especially when it's not a neutral site, it's a home site for somebody. So I'm pretty excited about that OU Arizona game, second game of the season. OU and Washington, that's another cool logo game there. Washington's obviously got a great program. I think I've seen them like at 18th, somewhere just inside the top 20. And then OU Arizona State to open up the season would be number 5 for me. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, top 5 non-conference games as we slowly inch closer towards the softball season. I'll get back to your comments there. You guys can comment on that. Robert says hit 121 home runs last season. They will hit 140 this year. I won't bet against it. There's very few things, if anything. If you guys want to throw out like hot takes and hot opinions, very few things that I would bet against with this team, especially with the offense. Now, if you said I think they'll hit 350 home runs, I might responsibly say maybe not that many. But if you want to say that they're going to hit 19 more home runs than a year ago, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bet against it. I'm not betting against it. We're going to have one of the most dangerous benches in the SEC or country for that matter, anyone, anytime. It's a great point, Joseph. Yeah, and that goes to Robert's 141 home run prediction. You know, like if you have a pinch hit situation or let's give this player a day off. We played a doubleheader. Let's bring in someone off the bench. Guess what that player coming off the bench is going to be able to do? Guess what Lexi McDaniel is going to be able to do if she comes in and pinch hits in a big spot in the 6th inning? Lexi McDaniel is going to be able to turn on a fastball and probably hit it in the left field bleachers. Tia Malloy is going to be able to do the same. And not to say that those two don't have a chance of being a starter. It's just to your point, Joseph, whoever the bench players are this year, or whoever's not starting, all of them will have capabilities of hitting the ball out of the ballpark and playing at a very, very high level. So, yes, whatever starting 9 they go with, it'll be great. But the depth on this team is what I think really is going to separate them from the rest of the field in college softball this year. The depth that they have is nobody has that in the sport this year, at least offensively. Nelly. We love some Nelly. Absolutely. I just love everything that she's about. She is what a leader she's become, what a leader she is. She's just so easy to root for. If all of them have double digits, walking people would. I just walk this team at your own risk. I mean, all you're doing is putting somebody on base for free for another incredible power hitter behind them. Good problem to have. Don says, I think Parker gets pitched around and she is more a put it in play hitter than looking for the home run. She's a complete hitter. And I think she showed that in the fall. She didn't hit a whole lot of home runs in the fall. She had a whole lot of doubles. She didn't hit a whole lot of home runs. But we know that she can hit a whole lot of home runs. She hit 15 last year, and it felt for the majority of the season she was banged up and she wasn't herself. And then guess what happened when she got healthy at the end of the year? Yeah, she looked like the best hitter at the Women's College World Series is what she looked like. So you're right, Don. And that's what I love about Ella. Like, she's not a home run or nothing hitter. You know, she didn't strike out a whole lot. She's going to hit a lot of doubles. She can hit some singles, but she's got power too. And she's going to hit her fair share of home runs. Gabby was invited to USA camp at Devon Park, youngest player there. Yeah, I saw that. Great for Gabby. I think Gabby will have a chance to play with USA softball someday, I think she'll absolutely have that chance. What she is defensively, what she is offensively, I mean, not easy to be the USA softball shortstop, especially the starting shortstop, but Gabby's as good as anybody out there. She'll have a chance, and she's only going to get better. We're not even to the regular season of her sophomore season yet, which feels crazy to say because it feels like Gabby's going into like her third or fourth year. And it feels like that because she's already made so many big plays, and the way that she just goes about things and her business-like attitude, it's like she's a pro out there. Like there's so many players like that though, where it feels like they are pros. They approach things like they're pros. You know, the way they walk, talk, everything else. Gabby's like that. Nellie's like that. Pick's like that. Parker's like that. Kind of like everybody in the program is like that who's been here at least a year. It's fun. I love this program, if you can't tell. I know you guys do too. Landry has speed, location, and off-speed prowess, and a lot more. Yeah, she's awesome. Berzon was so good when she was younger, hoping Rocha gets her there again. I think she will. And let me use this opportunity real quick to kind of, let me get this. Okay. So first, Slices with Sooners. So this event is awesome, and it's coming up on December 1st. And essentially what it is there's like 20 people. It's $100 a person. 20 people buy spots to this. Mike Fletcher, totally tickets. Like, he and his wife do an amazing job. They host it at his place at Totally Tickets in Bricktown, OKC. There's 20 people there. 2 players show up, and essentially we just ask them questions and get to know them better. So this will be the third of those, and this will be the last one for this year. If you're an OU softball fan, I can't recommend this enough. All ages are welcome to this, but on December 1st, we're going to have Gabby Garcia, and we're going to have Kai Minor, which I'm really excited about. The previous two were the 2 Sids. We had Sydney Barker, Sydney Berzon, and then last Monday was Miley Wachenio and Kendall Wells. So I was going to bring that up anyway. There's the number at the bottom there. You can see at the bottom of the screen, 405-210-3323. Space is limited, so act now. Call or text Mike to get your reservation there. But Sydney Berzon was at the first one. Long-winded way of saying, hey, go attend this event. It's awesome if you love OU softball. But also to bring up the first one with Sydney Berzon. And I asked her, I said, when you got in the transfer portal, it was a huge deal. I mean, if you guys remember, she was the number 1 ranked player in the transfer portal. Everyone wanted Sydney Berzon, and she got a lot of phone calls. What were things that were important to her is what I asked her. When you went into the portal, what were things that, okay, this is what I want to prioritize with my next stop? And she wanted to regain or find her love again with the game of softball. And it sounds like so far that she's done that, and she raved about what Jen Rocha has already done for her and kind of the strides with her game that she's made. So hoping Rocha gets her there again, I'd be shocked if she doesn't. Based on what Sydney Berzon said a few weeks ago, and I brought this up in a lot of videos, based on the fact that has any other pitching coach in America been as good with pitchers like this than Jen Rocha has? Sam Landry. Hope Troutwine. Kelly Maxwell, of course. And look what she's doing now on the world stage. Alex Storako. There's so many examples of a pitcher with 1 year of eligibility, maybe trying to find their love for the game again, or trying to find a new spot, or take their game to the next level. And Jen Rocha always gets them there. So there were times where maybe Sydney Berzon didn't show her best stuff in the fall, but I'm not going to judge her on that. I'm not going to judge her this early on working with Jen Rocha against the best lineup in the sport. I'm going to wait and see until what we get with Sydney Berzon, and I think the end result is going to be really, really good once the season gets around here. So, yeah, I think Jen Rocha will get her there again. Parker with the most hits for sure, best average, yes. Dave, since healthy, will Ella be the leadoff hitter? I'd love to see Ella hit after Pickering. It's a good question. What was it, like the Alabama series last year where Pick moved into that leadoff spot? I think Pickering showed you that she's a more than capable leadoff hitter. So I won't be shocked if Pick is in that spot. Here's probably what I think. If I had to venture a guess, and I do think we see a lot of different lineups early in the year, like we did last year. Patty wants to see all these different combinations, see how things work out. I'm going to put this hitter in the 3 hole. I'm going to put this other hitter in the leadoff. I might put this other hitter in the 9 hole. I think you're going to experiment a lot early in the season. I think Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering will be your 2 best hitters next year. There's going to be a lot of other really, really good ones, but I think those are going to be your 2 best hitters. Therefore, I would guess that once you get to conference play, those are the top 2 hitters in your lineup. Pickering 1, Parker 2, Parker 1, Pickering 2. Either of those 2. So, yeah, I think that there's a chance of that, especially because Ella can steal bases. She led the team 2 years ago in stolen bases, and I don't think she was that far back last year. And again, she didn't steal a base in SEC play, it felt like, because she was banged up. So Ella Parker actually fits the ideal leadoff hitter, now that you mention it, Dave. I mean, she gets on base. She's a complete hitter. She can steal bases. She doesn't strike out. Yeah, I mean, she could. But I think Parker and Pickering could definitely be your 1-2 in the lineup this year for sure. Took a few games to get that pitching down. Let's see what else we have here. It would take a while to find the number 1 pitcher. It might. And if it does, that's okay. You don't need to find your ace in February. You don't need to find your ace in March. I mean, you don't really need to find that go-to pitcher until maybe SEC play starts. Maybe you can even wait after that. Heck, I remember OU winning a national championship during the 4-peat run where I wasn't all that sure who was the ace pitcher. And then G. Juarez just gets on a hot streak in the Women's College World Series, and then that is that. But I do think, most importantly, you're not relying on just one arm to be that ace in the circle. You've got a lot of options, because I think Berzon can be that pitcher. I think she was brought in to be that pitcher, frankly. Miley Wachenio led the team in strikeouts this fall. She was awesome. She is awesome and only going to get better. I still think Audrey Lowry can be that pitcher. I really do. I think those are probably your top 3 in consideration for that, unless I'm not thinking of anyone. Katie will obviously give you good stuff. Alyssa Parker will give you good stuff. Berkeley's the K will give you good stuff, but every arm that OU has on the roster right now, they can all contribute, is what I think. Wachenio looked like the better acquisition for now, praying for KD to do some great things. Best thing KD did is just be consistent. Be consistent. Kept the ball down. Ball was in the park. Let her defense work. Not a ton of strikeouts. That's fine. Keep the ball down. Keep it in the park. Don't leave it over the plate. What KD was in the fall, I'll take that all day in 2026. All day. Are you kidding me? If that's the Kirsten deal we get, she'll have her best year at OU. And she won't have her best year because she'll pile up a ton of strikeouts. She'll have her best year because she is consistent, outing to outing, start to start, and she lets her defense work, and she puts up low numbers. I hope that's exactly what we get from KD. Did Ella have the most stolen bases this last year? No, it was, I believe it was Abby Dayton who had the most stolen bases last year. I think it was Abby Dayton who had the most. But Ella probably does back-to-back years if she doesn't get hurt and doesn't suffer that injury. Who would be the stolen bases queen this year with all the speed? I've asked that question too. And much like the home run discussion, I think there's several players that are in contention for that. I think Ella Parker's in contention for that. I think Abby Dayton's in contention for that. I think Ilana Agbayani is. I think Kai Miner is. Cheney Hilton, if she ends up being an everyday starter for this team, she could be. I'll guess Ella Parker, though, because I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that one, but I guess Ella Parker for home runs and stolen bases could be player of the year. Thanks for backing me up on that one, Teresa. I think that's right. You hope Kenny Gajewski. I mean, they are competitive. They're not some of the better Oklahoma State teams that they've had, but I still think that they're competitive. They'll be a top 25 this year. They will be a top 25 preseason, I think, throughout the year, for sure. Joe, I really want to see Pickering get a lot of home runs this year. Pickering, in the fall of her freshman year, she was hitting them out. Yeah, she was arguably the best player they had, not this fall, but the fall before. I'm not worried about Pickering hitting home runs. Pickering was, in my opinion, when Ella Parker was working her way through her injury and just trying to figure out some things offensively, Cassidy Pickering was the MVP of that offense last year, I thought. And clearly, Gabby Garcia had a great year, and Nelly had a great year, and so many other offensive players had great years. But Pick really carried things offensively, I thought, when Ella was trying to find her way through the injury. So I don't worry about Pick at all hitting home runs. She's going to hit a lot of home runs this year, and they're going to be bombs. You think Miner's going to lead the team in home runs? You think Miner's going to lead the team in home runs? She's good. She's good, and she's fast, and I think that's your next great center fielder. And that opinion is based off of what I saw in the fall. And that opinion is based on what others saw before she even arrived at OU. Modern day female version of Murder's Row. I mean, seriously. And that's why, guys, like, I don't think you should hold it against the pitchers what happened in the fall so much. Like, you can obviously form opinions based on what you saw, but don't be too hard on the pitchers coming out of this fall. They're not seeing a lineup like that where every single player is legit. There was no break in the order at all this fall. There was no break. So give them a bit of a break. The pitching will be fine. They'll be good enough. They got a long time. They'll figure it out. It's not as if they were bad either during the fall. There were some good moments. Keep the ball in the park. Let the defense work, and this pitching staff will be fine. I agree with that. Looking forward to Arkansas and Norman in April. Gasso rivalry is super. It's fun for sure. It's fun. Now, OU definitely got the better of Arkansas last year. They were 4-0 in that, and the last one was the most entertaining with Gabby Garcia hitting the walk-off home run in that one, but it's a rivalry of respect. If you call it a rivalry, there's definitely a ton of respect there. And of course, it's Gasso. Of course, DJ respects his mom, the GOATs. And of course, he respects what Oklahoma is all about. But I also think Courtney Deifel, I really like Courtney Deifel. I think she's a really good coach. Just kind of a fan of her and what she's about. And I just think those two programs have a lot of respect for sure. Where do I see Alyssa Parker fitting in? I've been pretty consistent with Alyssa Parker that I think her biggest impact is going to be felt in the circle. That's what I think. Now, she also had a game this year where she hit a couple of home runs, so I think she showed that she can definitely hit at this level, but she also showed that she can really pitch too. So I would guess that she'll get like some midweek starts early in the year, and she'll get some spot starts, and depending on what she does with those, she'll get more and more opportunities. I think she'll get at bats this year. But I think that probably where her biggest impact probably is going to be in the circle. But either way, she's deadly. She's incredible. Incredible. Alyssa Parker. Berzon, great kid. If she gets healthy, she will be great. Yeah, she is a great kid. I mean, all of them are. I mean, let's be honest, all of them are. But at that Sooners slices with Sooners, you really get to see just how awesome they are. And Cindy Berzon was just that. She was just great. She was amazing. Okay, I checked the lifetime OU hitters, and Parker is second at 415. Healthy this year, would not be surprised if she leads the league. Dang. That's crazy. That's a good stat, Teresa. Thank you for digging that up. I love that. Gabby Garcia holding an Olympic gold medal is a must. How many players on this current roster or are committed to Oklahoma, Goose, have a chance to play for Patty Gasso in USA Softball? A lot is the answer to that. A lot. And Gabby Garcia is definitely one of those players. Don't forget about the other Parker coming off the bench. Yeah, I just talked about Alyssa. Yeah, for sure. Keep them coming in the comments. Appreciate you guys joining me on a Thursday night here. I'm about to get to a little SEC preseason poll. One more time, Slices with Sooners. If you guys want to join on December 1st, that's 7 to 8:30 p.m. Go ahead and act now. Gabby Garcia and Kai Miner will be there. And I do want to mention, this probably goes without saying, but the money that is spent for this goes to the athletes. this isn't going to me, or this isn't going to Mike Fletcher and his family for putting this on. This is going to the athletes. Everything that I'm going to promote on this channel, everything that I have promoted and everything that I will promote are functions or merchandise that all go to the athletes. All proceeds go to the athletes. That's it. I ordered a t-shirt from Kim. And a lot of you know her. I mean, she was calling the games this fall on Facebook. I ordered a Sportsmanship and Glory t-shirt, and I'm going to be wearing that bad boy soon on a video to show you guys. Buy this t-shirt so you support the players, because that's what I believe in, is supporting this program and supporting these players. So, again, proceeds go to the athletes, Gabby Garcia and Kai Minor. Let me take this one off the bottom there. And, well, can we get the... There you go. There's the number one more time. 405-210-3323. 405-210-3323. Now, admittedly, I haven't gone back and watched every single fall game of other teams in the SEC. I know that A&M and Texas played at one point. I think Kentucky and Tennessee usually play around Halloween. I don't know if they did that this year. But it is the time to formulate maybe like a post-fall. This one says post-portal edition. It's a little bit old. A post-fall kind of SEC poll, SEC softball poll. And I did that today. I rearranged the teams a little bit. I dropped LSU back a few spots. But here's what I'm thinking. And what are you guys thinking? SEC softball power poll. By the way, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're here and you haven't already. I think OU is going to win the SEC. Surprise, surprise. They won the SEC last year, and I think they're going to be even better than what they were a year ago. I've got Texas coming in at number 2. I think it's a race with OU and Texas to see who's going to win the SEC. I think the SEC could very well come down to who wins that series in Austin, but I think it's a race between OU and Texas. And then who's next after that? I've got A&M at 3, the number 1 overall seed a year ago. We'll see if they can duplicate what they did a year ago. I can't wait until OU plays Texas A&M after not playing that SEC tournament championship game last year. Really looking forward to the trip to College Station at the end of the year. I've got the Aggies at 3. I've got Carlin Pickens and Tennessee at 4. I've got the Florida Gators at 5. Arkansas, who you know they're always going to hit. No Bray Ellis, but they're still going to hit at 6. Big fan of the South Carolina Gamecocks at 7. Georgia at 8. Bama at 9. LSU at 10. Mississippi State at 11. Ole Miss at 12, Auburn at 13, Kentucky at 14, Missouri at 15 would be my post-fall SEC power poll. So what do you guys think? Oh, Jordan, you think OU is winning the ship? As do I. And I think that they're winning the SEC. Michael says OU as well. Yeah, I can get down with that for sure. I actually feel really good about this one. I just think with the overall talent that they have, like I spoke of, and I'm kind of wondering if the SEC schedule is maybe going to be even a little bit easier than what it was last year when OU won it. Now, they got to go to Texas, and they got to go to Texas A&M. So by my own rankings, I say that OU's got to go on the road. They got to play 6 games in conference at the number 2 team and at the number 3 team. That's the most difficult part of your SEC schedule, but you don't play Tennessee. You don't play Florida. You get Arkansas at home, and you don't play South Carolina. Whereas last year, you did play Tennessee, who was in the Women's College World Series. You did play Texas at home in the Women's. I mean, they won the national championship. You went to Florida. You went to Arkansas. You played South Carolina. I think this SEC schedule is going to be difficult because it's the best league, and really anyone can beat you. I wonder, though, if this SEC schedule is just a little bit softer than it was a year ago. Maybe, maybe not. But at Texas and at Texas A&M is going to be it's going to be a challenge for sure. It's going to be fun. Better late than never. Welcome in. And I agree with you. OU on top once again this year. Okay. No, he lives in Norman, Oklahoma. I hope he's okay with me saying that. You can probably catch him in a lot of softball games this year. As the season gets closer, will you take a deeper dive onto the SEC? Oh, yeah, for sure. Did that last year, but definitely will again. And the process with that is just going back and seeing, what they did in the fall, who they brought in the portal, kind of get other people's opinions on teams. I heard something about LSU on Monday night that made me say, like, and it wasn't like for anyone associated or formally associated with LSU. It was just someone like, hey, I heard this about LSU. So I dropped them a few spots to what I initially had post portal. But OU goes there this year. So we'll see. Not playing Pickens and the Vols makes it easier. Yeah, I think so too. Just a reminder, they went 3-1 against Texas. They did. I'd like to go 4-0 or 5-0, however many times they play against Texas this year. That's what I would like. But that's kind of what I'm looking at, SEC softball power poll. And if you're just now joining, real quick, I'll roll through what else we talked about here before I get out of here. Post-fall OU home run leader projection. I think Ella Parker is going to lead the team in home runs. Like it, love it, hate it. I love it. I'll also love it if Pick leads the team in home runs. I'll love it if Nelly leads the team in home runs. If Gabby Garcia, Kendall Wells, Sydney Barker, whoever else. But I think they're going to hit a lot of home runs this year. As well as my top 5 non-con games. Oklahoma State's neutral sites. Duke at Mary Nutter. Arizona on the road. Washington at Mary Nutter. And then Arizona State. None of these 5 are in Norman, which is all good. All good. I think the non-conference schedule maybe a little bit more difficult than what it was a year ago, which I think is a good thing. I'll hang on for a couple of more minutes. I'll get to some comments, and then I'll be out of here. Sunday, and I did like a kind of a where are we at with these position battles a few weeks back. I'm going to come out with the post-fall, here's what I think the opening day lineup's going to look like. It's probably not going to be right. And it's definitely lineups that will change throughout the course of the season. But I'll at least take a guess for entertainment purposes and to get you guys' opinion on what the fall starting lineup for the season opener is going to look like next year. Hope I get it right, but probably not. We'll see. Will Tia Malloy get to start in the outfield with Kai Minor and Addie D? I think Tia's in the conversation for sure. Tia Malloy is absolutely in the conversation. I think Kai Minor starts in center. I think Abby Dayton's got a great chance to start at one of the corner outfield spots. And I think it's like Tia Malloy. I think it's Sydney Barker. I think it's Cheney Hilton. I think it could be Lexi McDaniel. Like, maybe she's one of those players like a Sydney Barker last year where maybe she hadn't played a ton of outfield, but her bat is just so good that you just have to keep her in the lineup. And we got to remember this. It is a long, long season. It's a long season, and everybody's going to get opportunities. So regardless of what I think today or you think today or what the opening day starting lineup is like, things can and will absolutely change throughout the course of the year. What your opening day lineup looks like will not be the same as your lineup when you hit the postseason. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's fun. Things are going to happen. Players are going to emerge. But yeah, Tia Malloy absolutely has a chance to start in the outfield. Absolutely. Do you think Malloy will be great this year? I think she has every chance to be. I think Tia Malloy has every single chance to be an everyday player and a great player for this team. Ton of athleticism there. And did some really nice things. Did she hit a triple in the last Battle Series game, I want to say? She had some good moments. Hoping Malloy is in the lineup regularly. She may be. She may be. A lot of Team Malloy fans on here, which I really like. Bill Bates, we were discussing home runs for the season. Remember, OU will probably run roll a lot of teams, which will lower the home run probability. Yeah, good point, Bill. a lot of 5-inning games, most likely, that will take at bats from players, but they'll still have a lot of home runs this year, and I would guess that they would lead the SEC in home runs this season. But hey, I think we should probably do more live shows because I randomly just did one on a Thursday night. You guys are showing up and you got comments in here like crazy. I always appreciate you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all of that. You guys do that all the time. You're awesome. You're awesome. It's pretty cool what we built here. It's pretty cool what we built here for sure. Let's see. Took a few games to get that pitching down. Yes. So I think we've rolled through just about all of the comments here. Let's see. Caroline Stanton is going to Florida at semester. Not sure that impacts them a lot, but she's a very good pitcher. Yeah, wasn't she with USA Softball at the World Games? She's good. She's good. And is she the number one player in her class? I think that she is. I think she is right in front of Peyton Westra, I want to say. So, yeah, she's good. That's a big deal for Florida. A lot more reclassifying going on. we'll see if that continues.